we have a generation in this country and in the world where there is an imbalance. Both are 7 years old, but others are proceeding ahead in their education than others, simply because of technology. They didn't have technology, they had technology. So the opportunities are going to be the same. The thugs here should not terrorize these ones when they grow up, but they must all move together. So that's why issues of digital literacy are key things that mafana amene akupita ku LEA ndi ku FP school kumalawi kuno apeze mpata omayigwira computer. Mafana amene anapita kuchipasula ngati achina ifeyo, kuchipasula kuchako kukhale kuti kuli ma ICT lab, and mafana azigwira aziona computer ija kuyambira pamene paja. Kale nthawi ife kunali home economics, kunali makuka chanjani kumapanga zidoiro also, because at that point in time the economy said we need home economics, we need woodworks, we need easy. But today the world and the economy is saying you need digital skills. So that awareness and the building up of digital skills is a key issue that we need to build up in the capacity of our public schools especially. Next. I figured that that would be the end of this conversation. So I thank you very much for your kind attention. I hope that we've started, that's a key word, we have started a conversation that needs to be prolonged. We have started a conversation that has made us uncomfortable. We've started a conversation that is actually putting out in the open what the gaps are, what the threats are. So that as we move forward, we must move forward as an informed nation and as an informed group of people. I thank you very much for your attention. May God bless you. May God bless Malawi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DG, for your presentation. Now we'll go into the Q&A. Come another round of applause. It was an interesting conversation, right? We hope that we have just started. Now, Banova, I'm going to hand over to Dr. Muntali to take us through the Q&A session. Ati banga guide kuti how we are going to go about that one. We'll have a revolving mic to assist with the Q&A.
So probably I need to go upstairs. So I think the presentation has been very direct and very clear. Just to highlight, I think one of the things that he mentioned, I think when he was starting to speak, the DG mentioned about his escapades when a girlfriend dumped him. But I also want to bring one or two things. I think he's a good contemporary. I think we've met quite a bit. I don't know if you remember, but I also want to highlight one of the things we failed to do together. I think when you are with the Football Association of Malawi at some point. So he's a very good contemporary. So he has failed in a lot of things. It's not just that. So, but it wasn't really entirely his problem. Now, there are quite a lot of things that he has highlighted. I think the gaps, what MACRA has done so far in terms of trying to address that, and the direction that we need to take as a country in trying to resolve the digital divide in as far as the rights are concerned. So I'm no lawyer, but at least I can speak with some confidence on the IT dimension. My good friend here, Mr. Kelias, knows the laws much better. Now, I think we don't have, maybe we'll have an hour or 1 hour, 30 minutes for us to interact. So may I request that those with the microphones should let me know. Okay, so you are set? Okay, you are set with the microphones? Okay, So, I think we'll be taking maybe 2 or 3 questions. Yep, 2, and then the DG and his team will try to respond to those, and then we'll move on until we exhaust whatever we can at this point. So may I now request that we begin the session with the questions. So, okay, I'll try to randomize as much as possible and also answer the genders. So let me start with my colleague behind there, and then my, I think we can also start with the staff member. So I'm assuming you're a student?
Yeah, I'm a student.
Yes, so let's have a staff member at the back as well.
Me?
But I don't, just a moment, I don't know, should I still be standing here or I can come down here? I should come down, yeah? Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And thanks for the presentation. There are a few things as meneta punzira solerolo. But now my question has been prompted by the comment that the DG made regarding Iguti Ambiri to Kuberedwa ndi Kumaula. I've always wondered. So this question will start with has this been discussed in the line that I'm going to present today? If yes, what is the direction? Now, my thinking is, fully technology yopanka jam my network and stuff, or you just control access to matawa ama phone, and the mwaule mani mwaine mundimona ngati kuti makra ndi ma technology ambirira mwangoti gaira ochepa. And I don't know how many prisons we have in Malawi. Is it something that we may consider to jam my network and my prison? Because these guys are already alandidwa kale maufulo siyana chifukwa cha kumene ali. So why don't we go further and kualanda so full wa network? Kualanda full wa network to protect the country. So my question is, has this been discussed already? Mwina ndikubwereza discussion imene inalipo kale. If yes, what has been the resolution? What is the way forward? Or is it something that we may consider? Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think you can have the floor.
All right. I should thank you, the Makra. Apabola kunoku. Zizira kali kuti kuzidikira ontha itali. Ati mazifuna kwambiri. Lero tokoza nifauli chobola kunoku. So, my understanding according to the lecture, ndamvesa kukhanga kuti digital world is like the normal world that we are living, a society. So, in society, timapanga share my ideas, my information, jani, as a medical career ngati physical world, same as the digital world. So, ngati mu physical world muli vuto nalake, fanga makamboza ma hackers kuti ama hackers tindu kuchanchani. Same as una kuti malai kuno kuti makhala ndi akuba physical kuti amatibera chani. So my question was, una kuti ngati musayari mumayika ngati asilikali ka mapolisi kuti aziyang'ana zimene zichazi kumakhala zinthu zosiyanasiyana. So abantu kuona ngati amakila muli ngati asilikali amene kuti digital world amene mayang'anira network chani. Ndikuona kuti awilede kuti tingatutana nawo anthu amahakazi acha. Awilede kuti tutana nawo kapena tikupelewerabe. Awilede kozi makamba kuza ngati kuti bafunia kuti tipange education ngati ana ma secondary azipezeka ma computer mwakamba kuna kuti ana ama secondary school ana ma primary school azipezeka kuti ayuse ma mobile ma computer koma as a country awilede kuti tikwanisa kuwapasana amene ma computer kama it's just like a myth kuti diapasa.
All right.
So my phone is open.
Thank you. I think one more, or you can take this. Okay. Yeah. So I think, one more. All right. So.
Thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to pose a question.
Can I know who is speaking? Okay, I think for the sake of order, can we be orderly in such a way that at least I need to recognize you and then you can take the floor. Okay? You will proceed, but you are the last person to just stand up and speak. So proceed.
Okay. Allow me to take this as an opportunity to give a special thanks to the wonderful work which MACRA is doing for promoting, for regulating communication, including telecommunication. Including telecommunication, postal service, as well as broadcasting. Special thanks to the Director General of MACRA for the Director General of MACRA for a lot of initiatives which undertake by phasing out slack airtime to enhance inclusivity and as well as enhancing transformation of message. Here is my question.
Thank you. Let's move to the question.
Mr. Director, as MACRA promotes digital inclusion and bringing the gap in the digital divide, what better way to demonstrate MACRA's commitment to inclusivity than by providing free meals to needy students? This initiative would enable them to focus on their studies and harness to the power on digital technologies without the burden of food insecurity. Why this matters? Digital inclusion should not be limited to technology access. Basic needs like food must also be considered.
All right. I think
hunger affects concentration, academic performance, and the ability to engage with digital learning. MACRA commitment to inclusivity can reflect in supporting the well-being of students. Providing free meal aligns with the corporate social responsibility and strengthen MACRA public image.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Banadiji, I know the last point, maybe you need to start addressing the last point. So over to you.
I want to. So MACRA was established by an act of parliament, the Communications Act of 2016, and it does tell us what we can do and what we cannot do. I'm saying this to just lay a background that we are an agent of government. We are your agent, but there is a specific sector and a specific role that we deal in. That being said, we exist in the environment that all Malawians are in. We're supposed to make a profit, and we do make profits, and those profits are retained to the owner of the company. The owner of the company is Secretary to Treasury. Secretary to Treasury then, our understanding is that allocates that money to the national budget, and therefore they can attend to other things that come through. But as a corporate player or a corporate persona in the environment, we do have corporate social responsibility undertakings that we do take. These are driven by a policy. That policy, unfortunately, is a policy that is approved by a board, so that there is also order and there is also a defined way in which we can do things. Because as you'd appreciate, we cannot be all over and everywhere. We have to be seen to be in a streamlined sector and in a streamlined area. So I do sympathize with the issue of needy students and a provision of food and everything else that you did raise. I do sympathize with that, but it would be a bit of a tougher ask if I was to go back to my board and to present it from the angle that you did. But I think me and my friends would have to find a clever way in which we can mask that and see if we can give it a shot. Because at the end of the day, the decision makers are the board. The board are the ones that have the powers to say yes or to say no to an element. But we have taken note of that request. Secondly, are we ready as Malawi for this digital revolution? The answer is yes. How much is it going to cost? It is going to cost us a lot of money because we need to have every school in this country connected to the internet. We need to ensure that almost every household in this country has access to a smart device, which means we need to deepen penetration of energy access in this country. We're now sitting at about 23-24%, which is still low. We need to raise that up. At the same time, we also need to ensure that certain barriers that are existing are being dealt with. The first barrier is obviously a high cost of devices. Most of these devices land in Malawi already assembled. How can we move around that so that instead of us paying 4 million kwacha for a device, can we get these devices for 100,000, for 200,000? Can we then get into a system which introduces credit systems where I don't have to prepay the whole amount at one time, but I can get the device, use it, and find a way in which I can be funding that device. At the same time, I'm sure you are aware that we have now become the cheapest data in Africa. 3 years ago, we were the most expensive data destination in Africa. So the data part we have dealt with. It is now the issue around the devices. But that being said, he did mention something that has to do with what we call internet governance. The internet exists on its own. There is no one that is the chairman of the internet, and therefore the president of the internet has said no one should go to the internet. No. So the internet is a free space. Anyone can go there, anyone can do whatever it is that they want to do. That is by design. The pioneers who set up this World Wide Web decided and agreed that there is not going to be a policeman here, there is not going to be a church elder here, there is not going to be the big brother here. Everyone will go and do whatever it is they want when they connect to the internet. So there is an element called net neutrality, which tries to take away governments from controlling the internet. So this is why you find out that it's almost impossible for the government of Malawi to shut down the internet in Malawi, because we don't own the gateways, we don't own the core infrastructure that can be shut down. So that's just by design how the internet was designed to be built. On mobile money fraud, true. So now we can jump signals. True. Even here we can tell the level of 3G, 4G down here versus up there. Even in Chamba building, the way to floor number 7. And we can shut down a certain floor. So now let's come back to reality. Zomba maximum prison. Let's assume that we jump past Zomba maximum prison. 100 meters away from Zomba maximum prison is Zomba Central Hospital. When you jump, you're going to jump a certain radius because you're jamming spectrum, you're jamming people. So you cannot restrict it with Apapo Kaba Musabito. Now, on the other side of the prison is Kobe Barracks. So it means just jamming Zomba prison alone, you have to look at, because when you jump, there are chances that even my X-ray, even the doctor's phones, when you look at 100 meters into this side is area 15, a residential area. Next to Maula is area 6, is a residential area. And next to Maula is area 4, where you have all these offices. And maybe 200 meters away from Maula is Kamuzu Central Hospital. So if you jump Maula, chances are that you can jump, including Kamuzu Central, Kusana, Uja, going all the way up to Crossroads. All of that area will have no connectivity. So, obviously, the prisons surrounding these places. I'm aware Maula is being transferred to somewhere remote Kuchitedze. I don't know what's going to happen with Zomba. But what are we doing? So first of all, KYC. For you to use a device in Malawi, that device must be KYC. You register your SIM card against your NRB. That did not go very, very well. So we are going to re-register everyone's smart cards. We are now going to limit about 10 per national ID. We are now going to only allow the national ID as a source of truth to identify a Malawian. The current KYC, we even used passport, we used driver's license. And at a certain point, I think Magaragwa Fumu were used. So the sources of truth are so many, and that has created a problem. So now we're going to use just the NRB as the source of truth. We re-register every SIM card in Malawi, and we'll limit your name to 10. And we also register handsets. So you cannot bring a handset in Malawi and connect it with the Igwiranchido. No. When you bring a handset into Malawi, so let's say in December, your cousin comes with his iPhone. When he gets into Malawi, the networks of Malawi will not allow that device to run. He has to go and register that handset. And he has to get KYC, and then that handset can run in Malawi. That we are running in two fronts. One is tax losses that are happening. People who smuggle my devices into the country, and the country is bleeding because of loss of revenue. Secondly, azibalana kumaba mafona mbili ku Jupegi, kama show Davido ndandani, kumabweletsa kuno kuti mudzidza kulitsa. So there's a lot of stolen devices that are being used in this country. We need to block that. Thirdly, there are a lot of fake and gray market devices that have come in. Fake and gray market devices pose a health risk to you because these devices, they're using radiation, and if it is not controlled, it becomes a problem. It can affect your health. So on one hand, we're trying to protect you. On the other hand, we're trying to make sure that you access only the best and legit devices. So mobile money fraud, it is an ongoing battle. The regulations have gone. We are waiting for that to be passed. But there is also a task force that we work together. Zomba prison guys, Maura prison, prison services, Malawi police, Reserve Bank of Malawi, Bankers Association of Malawi, Tenempamba, Airtel Money, and Makra. We meet so that we share notes on what it is that we can do to reduce the opportunity for mobile money fraud. We cannot take it out. We cannot eliminate it. But what we can do is reduce the opportunity. And that is what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bwana DGP. But before I go to the next round of questions, I think I just wanted to remind you on what the DG mentioned in terms of the defenses that we have in the digital space. I think he talked about the first front, which is the Malawi set, and he also said that we should strengthen the legal frameworks, and the last one was to enhance digital literacy. And I think from the comment from the last person, I think probably you need to consider adding food security as a defense to this. So can I now have the next round? Okay, I'll start with that lady up there, and then I don't know if there's any staff member who has raised their hand. Okay. Okay, sir, you have the next question, and then I'll come to you in that order. So if the microphone is quite far, I think we can start just here as we maneuver to provide the mic to her. So let's start down here. Sorry, sir, can you pass it on to him?
Abatingo yamba gune. Okay, mina do digiri ao ndende force.
Where is that?
No, the matter one somebody sure.
Yeah, but that's the reason why we need to recognize you before you can speak. So I recognize 3 hands. Can we respect that? Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, you can start. In the meantime, I think, can we move the mic to her? Because at least I recognized her.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Mine is just a question on digital rights. Looking at the topic, as well as what is being described in the topic, do we really have these rights, considering some of the sections in the Electronic Transaction and Cybersecurity Act, like Section 87, that restricts or prohibits people not to be free in terms of thinking of offensive communication. Now, looking at that, do we really have these rights as compared to human rights, the way human rights are? Do we really have these rights?
Thank you. Maybe an extension is, do you really have the human rights in the first place? You think you do? Okay, thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much. I have two questions. My first question, how does MACRA work with the law enforcement agencies to investigate and prosecute cybercrime cases? The second question, are there any plans or campaigns that MACRA has set to disseminate information about child online protection and also digital literacy in general for an average Malawian that cannot be able to attend events like this? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think that's the precision and the conciseness that we need. Thank you. Can we now move to, yes, him.
Okay, zikomo kwambiri. Mwina funso langa likhala likupanga katrezindu start pankhani ya lamulo, technology, komanso ndi ufulu. Mwanenapo zonena kuti mtolankhani anamangidwa kamba kupanga publish information that was said to be not well to the president, inciting the president. Ndikufuna ndinene kuti malamulo akupereka ufulu kwa Malawi kunena kuti akhoza kumapanga express their opinion, komanso atolankhani ali ndi ufulu kunena kuti they should write something or even to investigative journalism is there. On the same note, tikunena kuti cyber security ikumpanga so hinder munthu uja kulemba nkhani imene mwina ikhoza kukhala yofunikira ku dziko. Kodi zimenezi ngati MACRA komanso dziko tikuzipanga bwanji unena kuti mwina atolankhani mina kulemba zinthu nkhani zawo zizikhala zikulingana ndi malamulo, komanso as we go toward technology advancement tikupanga bwanji pa malamulo kunena kuti technology, the same technology that atolankhani akugwisa ntchito izikhaso ikuwatetezaso iwo atolankhani ndikugwira ntchito yawo. Zikomo kwambiri.
All right, thank you very much. I think I will ask the DG to take those set of questions.
So let me start with the last one. I think there's a break in transmission. The example I gave was exactly addressing that kind of issue. I did not stand on one side. I did not say the journalist was wrong. I did not say the law enforcement was wrong. I only said that, I even said meno inverera. But the people are now able to apply things menatangodi, menas inverera. Because of exactly that gap that we have. Because we don't have one defined law that we can all go to and then see who the aba, yalakwa, aba, si narako. But now it's 2016 law against campaign year 2025. So and I raised the example year 10 May to also give you that kind of thinking. Now people are warming up to these things. So maybe the president's example would take a bigger precedence, but I gave an example here, 10 May as well. He published something on a social media page, and somebody felt injured That person went to the police. The police went after this guy called 10 May. So, mlandu wake unali otija, you know, ababa mwatukwana, ababa ndinyoza, ababa, you know, so all sorts of things. So that ambiguity we need to create so that journalists in Malawi fully understand that they have the freedom of the press and that they can do whatever it is that they want to do. We have access to information law that has been enacted and it's been operationalized. All of that giving a secure access to journalists to access public information that they can publish. So yes, technological advancements are happening, but the law is not advancing. That's the whole point. So you and me are saying the same thing, but we're saying it from different angles. So we need to close this gap. The campaigns, yes, this is part of the campaigns for us to keep this discourse and this conversations happening. But you're right, others will not have access to be in this room that they can partake in these conversations. What are we doing? So there are a number of campaigns that we're doing at MACRA. We do a lot of road shows, we do a lot of engagements across the country. We are rolling out a project called Digital Ambassadors, which aims to send guys into rural areas and to teach digital literacy on the basics to people who have not yet come into the digital space. Remember I said our internet penetration is 36.9%. 100 minus 36.9, Dijani. Somewhere there.
Yes.
Yeah, so somewhere there, chakuma 70 ugo. Somewhere there, chakuma 70%. So it means there's 70% of Malawians that have not come into this space. And they need to be prepared in advance. They need to be taught. They need to be exposed to the internet in their vernacular. So when I go to kumakanjira, kwenu kujanchi yao, ndikukaa kambira anthu akumene kujango kuti iya Google WhatsApp imaenda chonchi komanso anthu amabera na phone chonchi izizi zimalakwika nchi yawo anthu ajamvetsetse. Fana wina apite kumalaka kunsanje kuja we kuja akakhale nawo so basi akakambiranenso mchisenaso kuti izizi zikuenda chonchi kunchako chanchani. Same thing kuchitipa Chilambia, someone should go there. Kukalankhulaso Chilambia ndi anthu kumene kuti anthu acha 70% izikhala pang'ono ikumvetsetsa kuti chikuchitika ndi chani. Akamadza akufika into the digital space ikhale kuti it's a softer landing. So that is happening. And then we have another initiative that we're going to do with community radios, so that we introduce a digital corner on community radios. Most of these community radios are broadcasting within a certain vicinity, and they're usually tackling with closer relationships with people that live there. These are some of the initiatives that we try. Every week we publish in the two weekend papers articles from MACRA that is trying to explain these things to a certain audience. So our role is to be very, very active in the awareness part of the solution. So we'll keep doing these things. This is part of our work, because at the end of the day, we need everyone to understand this thing from the same perspective. There was another question. I suspected it came from a lawyer, because the way you spoke, you sounded like a lawyer. So let me hand you over to another lawyer, so that lawyer to lawyer, mumvane bwino bwino.
Yeah, thank you very much, DG. I think the question was, it has appeared twice, but from two different people. Someone talked about media freedom, journalism, investigative journalism, and whether the Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity Act is not infringing on that right. And another one talked about whether the offense under Section 87 of the Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity Act is not infringing on the freedom of expression. I think something along those lines. So I'll tackle the questions.
Maybe, Mr. Mlenga, I think there's also one that was basically saying, do we really have the rights? So you might want
yes. Yeah,
yes.
Sure. First of all, do we really have the rights? The answer according to the legal framework, there is no law that says these are digital rights. In fact, that's one of the gaps that the presentation by the Director General made, that we need to have a codification of what we call digital rights. At the moment, we don't have. What we have are pockets of other human rights that we have from the Bill of Rights, Chapter 4 of the Constitution, being exercised through digital spaces. I'll give an example. If you're talking of freedom of assembly, freedom of expression, freedom of association, you can associate physically, offline. But in digital rights discourse, if you're going to conduct an assembly using digital platform, that would be regarded as the freedom of assembly is being exercised using digital means. So it's a derivative kind of definition which we call digital rights. That's what we understand at the moment. Of course, it also talks about access to basic digital services like internet, which is something that is that is close. Now, let's come to whether there is justification to trample on these rights. There is no justification to trample on these rights. When you're exercising these rights, let us always remember where they're coming from. They're coming from the Constitution. The Constitution itself, in section 44, has listed which rights can be limited and which rights cannot be limited. Okay? However, it has put safeguards in the same section, I think subsection 2, that before the state or anyone else limits these rights that are not absolute, certain safeguards have to be fulfilled. Certain conditions have to be fulfilled. It has to be prescribed by law. It has to be recognized by international human rights standard. It needs not to negate the essential content of that right. I think these are some of the conditions that need to be fulfilled. So the question is, has the offense under section 87 of the Electronic Transactions Act, can it pass that test? I think it's something that needs to be interrogated before a court of law. But for the sake of those people who do not know the contents of this offense, I will read it and let us make our own conclusion. Section 87 of the Electronic Transactions and Cyber Security Act. It reads as follows. Any person who willfully and repeatedly uses electronic communication to disturb or attempt to disturb the peace, quietness, or right to privacy of any person with no purpose of legitimate communication, whether or not the conversation ensues, commits a misdemeanor, and shall upon conviction be liable to a fine of 1 or 12 months imprisonment. So I want to highlight the following. Someone is using his right to disturb another person's peace. Someone is using his right to disturb another person's tranquility, like quietness. Someone is using his right to disturb another person's privacy. Is this what we are desiring when we are promoting these rights? Obviously, the answer is no. So this is what this law is prohibiting. So whether this law is being unfair to your right to freedom of expression, I'll leave it to you to judge. I don't think MAGLA will pronounce itself on this, because as the DG has put it, because disturbing your quietness, disturbing your peace, disturbing your privacy, the time you are going to report to police that, hey, I never want to see Nagone, among Sokos, Menambira Kukua, Aguta and Ufulu, or Zibanga Express, Menangatere. This is Nagone, if I sit now, to do full work. We are in digital rights zones, do full work. But when you're exercising that freedom, there has to be responsibility. So rights come with responsibility. So from the legal perspective, that's what I can explain. So it's a discourse that has not been tested. If someone challenges it, I think one side will say rights have to be exercised with responsibility. Another side will say, hey, give me freedom to disturb people's peace. Give me freedom to disturb people's privacy or quietness. So that's how to answer your question. I think there was something to do with media freedom. Is this not hindered investigative journalism? Journalism and freedom, these are constitutionally entrenched rights. I think media freedom is in the Constitution. Freedom of expression, which is the birthright of all freedoms, is also in the Constitution. So when these rights are being exercised, they are exercised within the scope of a legal framework. So this legal framework has put internal safeguards that have to be followed when you're exercising them. So whether you're a journalist, if you can do something offline and become an offense, the mere fact that that thing is being done online should not make it less an offense in the name of enjoying digital rights. If a journalist cannot insult another person through a newspaper, they'll be, without being caught by defamation law, for example, libel and slander. Should it be simplified or trivialized merely because it's being done online? The answer is no. So this law depends on the one who is pushing the prosecution. Bring evidence that this has harmed another person, then they'll be convicted or not. The good thing is, in a constitutional democracy like Malawi, we have courts. Courts are the ones who have the final say. The state can say, Mr. Suleiman is an Nkulebwino ku University of Malawi. Therefore, we should charge him with Mlando Wagut. But for Mr. Suleiman to be a convict, it would depend on the court pronouncing itself after being satisfied with the evidence which the state is going to bring. So these rights, yes, they're there, but when someone's right has been infringed, the jury is on the one who is alleging to prove before the court. So the court still pushes back the one who is alleging to say, your rights have been infringed. Prove to the court that this has been proved. And this should be enough safeguards to ensure that that these rights are there and they are protected. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I think to try and streamline, DG, with your permission, I think I'll be picking from each section so that I don't seem to be favoring a certain. So I'll start with my colleague here who is in the Flames jersey. And then, okay, for gender balance, yes, you come in. And from here, yes, my lady friend up there. Okay, so we'll start, the fourth one will be at the middle there. So we'll start with the 4. The next round, I will pick from the other sections. No, I didn't give you the floor. I will not give you the floor because you want to. I need to recognize you to have the floor. No, I didn't say that. So, can you start, please?
Patengela kuti mwinawo ndi mwaimene tinawo munasoseza kumana ndi bwana director kukufunsani mafunseni ndena maybe beyond this public lecturing ndole ndikufunseni mafunso mwina ngapo motimangira nthawi. Funso loyamba from 2010 to 2022 panali issue ya living monitoring system imene mwina ngati makla sinachite bwino ku court. Moving faster, mnanena zonena kuti Malawi tinali ndi bando yodula kwambiri kuyerekeza ndi maiko ena. Komabe ngakhale bando ina chipa pali issue ya kuchita expire kwa data bando. Ndimafuna nditaziwa kuti what is Makila doing concerning kunena kuti data imachita expire as if it's a commodity or a certain item. Question number 2, ikuza ndi section 151 of Communication Act imene imatetezera kwambiri imene imakamba za consumer protection. Ndikuziwa bwino kuti Makila simangona kunkhani ya communication kana kulanda utenga koka komanso imaona kunkhani ya ma clear services. Pali ma rampant concern about ma clear services ngati cities ndi hotelo kuti katundu timatha kuntumiza kuma kutenga nthawi yayitali asadafike penanso kusowa kumene. Kodi as Makila, do you regulate ma clear services and what's your take about that? Last question. ndiyokhuzana ndi cyber security act imene mumakamba imene ili mu data protection act 2024 imene ikhuzananso ndi ma place amene mwakamba kale mu presentation yanu. Pali zinthu zina zimene zikumachitika pa social media, maybe ndipereke chitsanzo ngati Lipompo FM, Bakili News TV, komanso amalawi ena amene amazitchula kuti iwo muna ni ma activist amene akumatumiza ma audios amene amakhala kupanga attack anthu ena. Pamene papa, what is Makula doing posatengera kunena kuti maybe anthu ali kutali kapena maybe nzapa technology ena zimachita kuziwikiratu mwinaso pongonjezera pamene popo ndimafuna nditaziwa ndanaka ibuna mwainga limene usizopeza. Makula is planning to use 1.5 million almost 5 billion malawi kwacha kuti ichite buy machine from Ghana amene azithandizira kuchita create information more especially social media. Ndimafuna nditaziwa bwana director kunena kuti how sure are you kuti makina me contract imene mukufuna kusayinira itithandizira nziko muno potengera kunena kuti mbuyomu pa club ma contract maybe awiri kapena atatu amene boma lapanga yokhuza na passport imene sinalongosoke yokhuza naso AIP imene sinalongosoke. What you, okay fine. How sure kuti makila ma contract imene ikhala meaningful to the citizens of this nation komanso ithandiza motani pankani ya technology malawi kuno ziko.
Thank you. Can I, the lady here?
The DG and all protocols observed. Titowoze for this opportunity to present my questions. I have three. The two are supplementary to what my colleague there has presented, but the first one is unique. The section 6 of the Communications Act of 2016 outlines the functions and duties of MACRA. Pursuant to this mandate, in 2017, MACRA embarked on a project called the National Addressing System that aimed at assigning physical addresses to every property in the country and, of course, street naming. I understand, or I want to believe that this project was completed. And you would agree with me that so far, not many of Malawians are aware of this. As a regulatory body, and of course, an authority that was mandated to raise awareness among the public, what are you doing to make sure that the masses are aware of this? Also, recently, the media was awash with the news that MACRA is planning on procuring the machine that is going to track misinformation and disinformation. I would like to know, has it been procured, or where are we with the purchase of this machine? Lastly, to supplement to what my colleague has presented, the MACRA is mandated to monitor and regulate postal services, of which courier services are inclusive. Do you take time to monitor how these courier service operators are able to provide service to Malawians? And also, let's say the public has been, the quality service provision has been compromised. Have you raised awareness among the publics of how they can go about reporting? To who should they report? What are you doing about that? Thank you.
All right. I think the lady, yeah. Can you be as brief as possible, please?
Our protocol observed. Mine is not a question. It's actually a comment and a little bit of a recommendation. So when I saw this this post about this public lecture yesterday in my room, I was like, I have to go to this place because I saw something that happened online on a social media platform and it didn't please me. A person, a student here at UNIMA, just bullied my first year friend who also happens to be a person with albinism. So I would like to talk to the legal frameworks, and I'm glad that we have lawyers in here. For the future's sake, I would like to, would you please do something about this? Because there is a whole lot of a population of people out there that are getting their feelings hurt every day by posts that people make randomly on social platforms, different platforms, and we seem not to notice anything about it. So I just think it's high time that people stop picking on others, more especially people with albinism. And as a country, we have to really work on this one because it's not fair. And whatever rules we have to amend them. 2016 is a long time ago, and this is 2025. And I do not expect to have these recurrences now and then. This is the 21st century. Thank you.
All right. Can we have the microphone to him? So please be as concise and brief as possible.
I have two questions. The first one is, the Director General talked about Malawi SET, which is spearheading our cyber threat recovery response. We had an incident a few months ago with the immigration, it's public knowledge, where the system apparently, the details are still, or someone tampered with the system. So my question is, does MACRA have mandates to audit the different systems that the ministries, departments, and agencies of the government uses? That's number one. Number two, the Director General also touched on internet governance. I wanted to ask, us as Malawi, are we taking part, I know of Internet Governance Forum and other forums that take place that relate to internet governance. As a country, are we taking part and having a conversation with other stakeholders and other nations when it comes to internet governance? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think, DG, you can take those for now.
Thank you very much, Doc. Yes, let's start with the internet governance one. Does Malawi take part? Yes, we are now a member of the Internet Society. We are a member of IGF. We are also a member of the ITU. We are actively participating in all of these forums to represent the interests of Malawians. We were the 9th country in Africa to be accepted to the Budapest Convention out of 54 countries. So that would give you an idea of how much of a push and how much of work we are doing in the background. So issues of net neutrality, issues of internet governance are issues that are very, very close to us, and we do attend to those. The immigration hack, what's the role of MACRA? Electronic Transactions Act, Electronic Transaction and Cybersecurity Act of 2016 gives the mandate on issue cyber to MACRA. So anything that happens with any government agency relating to a cyber attack, the first point of call is Malawi State under MACRA. But I did mention that Malawi State does proactive and reactive. Proactive, almost every MDA, including private companies, we do simulate attacks on their systems. And there's a whole lot of files that these guys produce. So we simulate an attack on Bank A, and we find problems. We write all of that, and we send to the CEO of that bank so that the CEO of that bank can then have his guys to look at that. So we are actively doing all these things. So the screenshot I showed you is from one of the systems. But we don't just watch and say, no, no. We follow through. What is it that these guys are trying to do? And then we simulate attacks internally. And where we can successfully get into a network, we do tell them that we were able to get into your network, and this is how we did it. Please close here, close there. On the issue of cyberbullying on minorities, we do have the cyber crimes bill that is in the pipeline that needs to be passed. In that cyber crimes bill, I think if you go on the MACRA website, you should find a copy. If you go to macra.mw, you should find a copy of the Cyber Crimes Bill. That bill is trying to introduce all these crimes. There are about 38 of them that have been listed in there. Using your phone, utakupalamula ka 38 kosiyana siyana. Zimezo zikwena zibwere. Chifukwa anthu ambiri zimene akumapanga zija kungoti abati ng'alule hey nyanjanjani. Some of us are very good customers to social media bullying. Now, timanenedwa, timanyozedwa personally. I see it now as a joke, but other people may not take it as a joke. You know, timachulidwa zankabudula nyanjanjani all the time. You know, it's like, okay, cool. Lero tukwana moti bwanja asane ng'alule motirere maviete. Okay. Akupanga fundraise kaya maviete mwina akamaliza abwera so azati ngalula nayo, you know. But that's me, you know. I can take all those shots, but can you? You know, if someone who has 8,000 audience and is live and is really coming after you, would you take it up? So yes, I do agree with you that we need to fast track and we need to raise this necessary awareness. And this is the whole reason why these engagements and this interface between yourselves and us is very, very important, because we begin to raise this awareness, and certain people should really hear about this, and we should move forward. Monitoring of courier services, you mentioned one. Yes, everyone who does courier business in Malawi needs to have a license from MACRA. Courier services are a backbone of e-commerce. So when you combine that mobile money service, the penetration of mobile money with courier services, and then you combine national addressing to that, then you have an e-commerce ecosystem. So we need to pay attention to all these three. One, the courier companies must be at a level where they're operating in a very, very trusted environment. So we are introducing what we're calling track and trace, regardless of what level of a courier license you have. But any parcel that you take, it must be tracked and it can be traced. So if I am in Palombe and I'm sending a parcel to Mwanza, the moment I hand over that parcel over the counter, that I should get a number, and I should have a way in which I can track where that parcel is at any point in time until that parcel arrives in Mwanza. So whether I'm sending the parcel to South Africa, the moment I hand over the parcel, I should be told, parcel yanu ili hapa, parcel yanu ili hapa, parcel yanu yafika huko. Ikasoa, you have an idea. Pamene yatani yasowera. Therefore, when you come to us, you are also armed with that information. On the other hand is the issue of national addressing. Because ngaba ngoti mungakhote mungona chintengo cha malambe kena kumona papalowa Airtel ndepa selipa pamene ndili. Everyone needs to have a physical address. Physical address, every road must have a name. Every building must have a number or a name. So here, I don't know what name this street is, but this building is called Great Hall. So does anyone know this road? Chirunga. This road that runs from the T junction, what's the name? No, you cannot have Chirunga. That's my point. So any road in Malawi needs to have a name. So this road that goes to this car park behind the building should have a name, and it's joining Chirunga. So is Great Hall on Chirunga or on this one? So Great Hall should have 5 Chirunga Road, Great Hall. Then you know on Chirunga Road, building number 5 is called Great Hall. Zilikumeneko. You know, so all over. But now, even if you go to Chitiba on your Google Maps, if you type on your Google Maps Chitiba, zoom in, you see that every other road in Chitiba has a name on Google Maps. If you do the same with Salima, with almost all the districts in Malawi, we have named every road, and we've even managed to successfully upload and update Google Maps. That's the first achievement we have done. The second achievement is to now upload the house numbers along those roads to Google Maps, which means I can be here and say, I want to go to 5 Kamoto Road, Mwanza. And I go on Google Maps. It should show me the direction from where I am to get to 5 Kamoto Road in Mwanza. So that is the level of addressing we need to go to. Because now, when the courier service operators have jacked up and the national addressing is working proper, someone can actually order a cake from Mwanza and they're here in Zomba and the cake gets delivered here. Because they would have paid via Airtel Money or TNM Mpamba. These two people will never see each other, but there's a courier company in between that has collected the cake, and this guy can trace where the cake is until the cake gets to Zomba. That's the level of operation that we need to get to. So where are we with national addressing? We have done the infrastructure, we have done the naming of all the roads. Now the next level is to now ensure that bylaws have come in which should force every property owner to display their physical address on their wall. Now to do that, we need city councils. So every city council should now pass a bylaw that makes it mandatory that nyumba ya kwanu muirembe kuti iyi ndi 5 Suleiman Road. Because the name of the road would be Suleiman Road. I wish there was such a road though, but it doesn't exist. But for the sake of an example, yeah. So we now need to do all of that. So someone just gives you the address as 7 Jimodo Road, Blantyre. There will only be 1 Jimodo Road in Blantyre. And that's how this thing works. There will only be 1 Suleiman Road in Mwanza. There will only be 1 Suleiman Road in Lyon. So you say 12 Suleiman Road, Blantyre. There is that building. That is number 12 on Suleiman Road. So we need to do that across the country, across every other municipal and every district council. Misinformation and disinformation. Hey, the way you ask your questions, guys, you are victims of misinformation because your questions are loaded with wrong perceptions and wrong points. So let's talk about the facts. One, the platform is called Trend Analysis Monitor for Misinformation and Disinformation. So I'll give you a good example. Over the past month or 2 months, the exchange rate between Malawi Kwacha and US dollar was neither here nor there. You would wake up, I figured 4,800. Can I go on we know got to miss a post. Hey, I figured 5,000 to $1. Can I go on we know to miss a post. Hey, I figured 6,000 to $1. That is misinformation. A lot of people were making business decisions on that speculation. Now, the end result is traders would change prices based on that misinformation. Now, the guys who would control issues of forex and exchange rates are the Reserve Bank of Malawi. If they don't have a platform with which they can see speculation near exchange rate, the Reserve Bank would not be in a position to counter and to quickly come in and say, no, that's not true. Until things get to a bad side, that's when the Reserve Bank would come to react to that. Meanwhile, misinformation has become the truth. So to avoid getting to that position, to avoid getting to these positions where misinformation has spread so quickly that you don't know what to do, that's why the trend analysis is important. And all you're doing is you're analyzing the trend. What the antamena kukambaza forex rates ali kutiko. Antamena akutumiza patipo. Akuzigamba in what context? We take that information, we give Reserve Bank of Malawi and say, my guy, taona ni ringini indiano konzanias. Reserve Bank acts on that. So the same thing with people's information and all sorts of other stories. You cannot successfully develop strategies and campaigns in a digital space if you don't understand what exactly is happening in there. So sungakhale kuti iwe ulikunja nomapeza kuti mkati mujokwendetsa mwambo ndiwe. You have to be in there so you fully understand what is happening. So the system works on publicly available information. If you've posted on Facebook, zimenezo is a private, zimenezo is a public. If you have sent a WhatsApp message to him, that is a private conversation, and there's no system that can read this trend analysis. But if I write on Facebook, I'm making it public. I'm announcing to the whole world. If 10 other people rewrite the same thing, then all that is public information that is already available. And the systems that are existing that are going to do what we call web scrapping. You scrap the web, and then using AI, you can build a profile of what is happening, and therefore you can react as an institution. So, have we bought? Public procurement is a process that takes a lot of time. The whole reason why on September 13, 2024, we announced in the newspapers, we are going to buy this system. Ngati niyo muli najo bwerani. But we use what we call international competitive bidding, which means that even foreign international companies could come and compete. Only one Malawian company came to buy the bid document. The rest were international companies. And then, was that February? February 6, we announced, oh, we have analyzed all the bids that came in. Immediately, already, itagutithandiza zimene ufuna the company E. Hell hath no fury. Why Ghana? But in September, we announced, come. Nobody came. Now we've gone through the process. We are saying, intention to award. Intention to award. Do you have a problem with this company? Come. I say, no, our Magnoramu. Nobody came. They said, no, don't do it. Hey, 1.5 million US is a lot of money. You should buy maize. You should buy fuel. Thank you. We hear you. Then what will ADMAC buy if we buy maize? What do NOCMA buy if we buy fuel? What do National Medical Central Medical Stores Trust buy if we buy Panadol? But we want to buy this machine to do with our digital things. Oh, no, hey, it's also Jan. We said, okay, cool, let's go. So we're still in the process. We took people, we said, if you don't like them, or you inyondima shasha IT, nema shasha IT ajatinatenga, magazi amama mfuso menya demo ajaso tinatenga so anthu aku parliament tinapita nawo. Tinati go and find out what is happening. Come back, mulemba maripoti anu, tikapita ku Malawi, aliyesa akatipatse report yake. So aliyesa anabwera kuno, anapereka report yake. Tapereka report ija, tapita kwa IPDC. IPDC is going to make a decision. Public procurement processes being followed. So we cannot use emotions or our thoughts on things that are technical, on things that are in serious black and white, because then otherwise aliyesa zingonena kuti kumakra ko musalembeso anthu atali oyera musalembeso wina aliyesa kubewa ndekuti tosa atali oyera sitipeza so chito kuti kumakra, because someone says that. But does the law prohibit that? No. So let's follow what the law is saying. The social media VNs, yeah, we don't have a law that we can say, no. But do we have an idea of where they are when they release the VN? Remember, I said every device that connects to the internet has what is called a what? An IP address. That IP address leaves a footprint. And to 3 meters of where you are, we have an idea. We know where these things come from. Unfortunately, they are released from outside Malawi. Our jurisdiction does not extend outside Malawi. And if we were not law enforcement, we are a regulator. So we would provide that data to law enforcement, for law enforcement to do their work. But if you open a device and it's connecting to the internet and you want to be funny, just know within 3 meters, you can be located.
in the sun getting damaged and all that. How are you doing, and what are you doing to make sure that these issues are addressed as a regulator?
Operator could be we should social media before you write it on your Facebook, please register. use the official channels to report your problems. Because otherwise, if we go after them with something my guys are there, they have no lesson of money. Every day we get summons, and every day we are in court. So we have to be very, very careful. So palikulia service ina yake ikozi. Mungu anakapereka fridge ku planta, ili fridge bile kulilo. Mene wakafika kulilo, fridge inasabira kuli diketu. Kutoka magana ketu. So mungu anakapereka fridge ujake uzada dawo. Andinaitana enacha mundu chanabetsa receipt ubunanga na chakula chituzi atakaisia fridge kwa kulia service operator. Once another example of the tools, the fridge did not transform. Okay, itakafika huko. So those are some of the examples that we find that how kule operator maybe tunampa penalize and anapeleka drama. Ya anapeleka drama kikombe ndio anakana. So magari muzida ndaura official. Mugaona kule pali vudo with the service provider. Don't just rant on Facebook and social media and X. Learn to channel your problems and your energies in the right spaces. Then we'll get proper assistance. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, DG. I think we will now move to our last, if not last but one, round. Last. Thank you very much. I was afraid of saying last. It's good that it's coming from you. I think just to extend on what the DG mentioned in as far as the minority issues were concerned, as she was complaining, I was already thinking to what you said. How does someone capture, store, and preserve evidence that they have actually been bullied on the streets? I think these are all the issues that I think we are trying to talk about here and raise awareness in terms of how we can begin to deal with them. So, is my colleague who was trying to force himself to speak ready? So I will recognize you. I think there's one hand here, so I will take you from this section. Can I move to that section if there is any hand? Do you have any? Okay, so you'll be the third one. Then fourth as a lady. I've picked a lady. They are all gentlemen, so at least I need to balance the gender. So I've picked a lady. Then I can move here. Okay, you have the floor. And then let me pick from the back. So this will be our last round of questions. So can we have the microphone move, please? So yeah, probably she can start.
How does the government balance freedom of expression and legitimate national security concerns like insurgencies? Because recently we have had insurgencies like the Lomwe Belt violence, the 2019 post-election violence, and also the Karanga district violence. Like, how do you monitor the internet space in where this is a freedom of expression or signs of insurgencies about to happen in the country?
All right, I think that's this question. I think I should recognize him as well as the staff member, because I think I didn't recognize the staff member. So I think you can also allow him to.
Okay, mine are just a few concerns. Of course, Dr. Montali raised some. The issue to do with these network service providers. Their network is so poor. We are being deprived of our digital rights. I feel we are being infringed from these rights of access to connectivity, the internet, and the like. So that is one concern. And the other one is lack of digital systems in government institutions. I think MACRA can enforce availability of these kind of systems that we can be able to interact with the government institutions. For example, the immigration or the road traffic departments. So based on these two concerns, what MACRA is doing to address these kind of concerns, I'm expecting to at least maybe to have, maybe you can come in to say that you are bringing in some new service providers in terms of network connectivity, for example, MTN. Yeah, those are my concerns.
All right, I think there was a hand here.
So throughout the presentation, we have only been substituted to and positioned to audiences or recipients. So I understand that you have come to an academic institution. So how do you position us as the users and the first line of defense in as far as cybersecurity is concerned?
Thank you very much for that question. Can we move this side? I think there was a hand up there. The microphone upstage, where is it?
As far as innovation is concerned, how do you ensure that those people, those geniuses in the local areas who come up maybe with their innovations like radio stations, but they have not gone far with their education, but are disturbing your system, how do you ensure that their goal is secured? Because mostly we hear that when such people are found, maybe they are arrested. Ignoring that they have come with innovation, even those people who are educated cannot come up with. How do you ensure that those people are secured? Two, in terms of, as far as human rights are concerned, how do you ensure that those people who are stealing through cyber, because they have got the knowledge, which means they were once connected and they know the system well. Sometimes they are maybe staff members, but maybe they are terminated from their duties. So how do you ensure that those individuals who have got that knowledge, they are terminated, though you say there is no law specifying such issues, but we know that when such people are found, mostly maybe they are rich, because if the source is known that they are in prisons, why don't you install digitals that can ensure that if they are doing something contrary to the network, they can be traced before even they penetrate with their decisions. Three, issue of independence. Most of the developing countries, we hear that they are facing new form of colonialism in terms of economic whatsoever. So in terms of economic world, what we say, technological world, yeah. Are you under any control of superpowers in terms of economic world, or you are free to come up with whatever?
All right, thank you very much. So is the friend, where is the microphone upstage? It's down here. So can we find a way of taking it up there? I think in the meantime, as the microphone is finding its way to the upstage, maybe DG, you can begin to address some of the questions.
Thank you very much. Are we under any superpower control? None that I'm aware of. We are a body corporate as MACRA, constituted by law. There is no way in which an international Illuminati group can be controlling MACRA. So I don't think so. I don't think that we can get to that. Our control comes from the Communications Act. What the Act says is what we do. What the Act does not say, we don't do. So the former employees that are participating in these criminal issues, mostly these guys are behind bars already. So, palichichewa chake amatichani kodi pano
Kumanga kawiri.
wakufa samopa kuola, you know, that is where it's become. But it is an ongoing battle between my prison warders and the guys inside. They're always trying to close these loopholes and what have you. They're trying, and all of us are trying. So there isn't anything much more that we can do beyond that. Yeah, so we're installing Maskana, for instance, Kuzomba. The entrance is being relocated to another space, and on that space, there is an inbuilt scanner that's going to scan even abdomens of men if they have swallowed something that they're going to take into that place. You can imagine, people are creative, how these handsets end up being in prison. All sorts of ways and means. Innovation and securing intellectual property. I'm suspecting that you are setting up an illegal radio station. So radio stations, they use spectrum. Spectrum is also being used by a whole lot of other players. You have flights that land into Malawi. They need to talk to the control tower so that they can clear the runway and land. You have ambulances, you have police, you have the army that are using all these things. So if everyone else is using and running around spectrum, it becomes a problem. So that is why it is a heavily regulated space that you can't just switch on your Kachanko FM. No. But we've understood that there is now changes, and we need to accommodate you guys who are bringing in innovative ways of doing things. So there's a new law which is called Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship Bill. In that law, we have introduced what is called sandboxing. So sandboxing is where you are allowed in a controlled environment to come and abuse systems and spectra in a controlled environment, so that we see how your idea is behaving and how you can perfect it. So when it comes out of the sandbox, your idea does not cause problems. So sandboxing is in the Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship Bill that is coming in. How are we positioning you guys in this discourse? This is the whole reason why we are opening up these conversations, and I hope I say that this is not an event. This is going to be an ongoing conversation. So we have given you our traffic. We expect you to give us back what it is that your thoughts are, what it is that your ideas are. And you can write to us, simple email, dg@macra.mw. If you have an idea on how we can raise awareness on some of these issues, drop us that, and we'll see how we can take it up. There are further questions and comments that you have, dg@macra.mw, you're going to reach us. Lack of digital systems in government, true. We can do better, but there is a whole department in government called e-government that is supposed to digitalize matters, service delivery government using digital systems. As a regulator, all we do is to facilitate for these systems and for this infrastructure to be made available. We are not the magic bullet that would service and that they're depriving you of your rights. We agree, and as I mentioned, there is a lot of traffic between ourselves and Airtel and TNM. There are a lot of fines that are being thrown up and down, but we do sympathize that we could do better. We should be in a position where we can scale up and reduce these quality of service issues so that we enjoy seamless connectivity. That is an ongoing issue. Can we invite a third operator into Malawi? Now, there are certain issues that now begin to crop up. One, the two operators that are already here, it's already a duopoly. Therefore, a third player coming in, it would be a bit of a problem. How do we then address that? There is something which is called mobile network portability. mobile number portability, where I can be 09, my number is 0999, but I can become a TNM customer and use TNM services and use my 0999 to top up and buy data bundles on TNM. I can go to MTL with my 099 and become an MTL customer, buy airtime from MTL and data bundles from MTL, but still maintaining my 099. Without that, what has to happen is I have to throw away my SIM card, buy a 08. And a lot of people know me with my 09. Now, when I go to 08, a lot of people will not meet me. A lot of people would have now known my 08. So that is one of the strategies that we're doing to ensure that we create a space where that third mobile network operator you're saying can come in. Because now the competition will be on quality of service and service availability and not on the number and the SIM card. The number and the SIM card should not be used to ring fence customers and say you cannot go because did not 09. But with mobile number portability, I keep my 09 number, I become a customer or MTL. And MTL gives me good service, I proceed 09 on MTL. So that, I think, in the next 2-3 months, we are releasing the procurement, the bid document for that, so that a company comes in. By the time you get to December, you should be able to port your number to whatever network you want. Akakuboa Airtel, go to TNM. Akakuboa TNM, go to MTL. Akakuboa MTL, go to Airtel. So it's the quality of service that's now going to dictate where you as a customer are going to be, and not the SIM card, because you bought the SIM card under this network. Freedom of expression and national security, a very, very thin line. Very, very thin line. Because there is no defined cybersecurity laws. There is no defined digital rights laws. So what you may think is an insurgence, someone else will think is freedom of association and freedom of expression. So we really, really need to get to a position where we should define these things. Because in 1993, there is a country in Africa which went up in flames because of radio broadcasts. We know how why they say, hey, mpefu zijaziri kono ziri no, ukwakuti kwakuti, uchali chakumene kupita nimuka pantha meneo, over an FM broadcast. Antu mwapita libo jokapeza, antu kupana, hey, pano wakutawira uko, hey, akapeze, kupita kubene kuja. So that's how dangerous this communication space is. Now we've moved away from FM. Now we can mobilize Antu and do the same thing on digital surfaces. And give away information about, hey, now on digital surfaces. So that's why I'm saying it's a thin line as of now. So we can interpret it as a threat to national security, or we can interpret it as, oh, this is people expressing their freedom of expression and freedom of association. So, nanjina kuku kumetu kuvaya kuku September kunde you see. So how then do we say good? I know this is wrong. This you've crossed the line. Which line? How do we then say good? We are sabange live imene. You've got chakuti zakuti. You know, how do we say no? Azodi sabange broadcast imene yo. You've got chakuti chakuti. So it's a balancing act. But at the end of the day, you know, just do good. Just do good. If you do good and you stay in that lane, I think all these other issues that we're trying to grapple with, they fall out. I think those were the questions in that round. I thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I think I had recognized 2 hands up there, so let's have those 2. They should not ask the questions. Right. By public demand, I'm curtailing the discussion. My sincere apologies to the two gentlemen that will not allow you to say much. So I think this is where my job ends. Madam Chisambiro, where is she?
Maybe before you leave the stage, may I humbly ask that you give us a closing remarks?
Okay. So I think it's, let me just say that for those that are still having questions, I think the Makara team is still around. You can still meet the DG and the rest of the team at a personal level and still engage on some of the comments that you have. I think for the sake of time. Again, can we give ourselves a round of applause, please? So, I think I've the honor to provide the closing remarks, and I really don't have a lot to say. Suffice to say that I think we've learned a lot from what the DG has actually presented and from the various questions that have been raised and the responses that Makra has provided through the DG and his team. And let me send my sincere appreciation to Makra, Mr. Suleiman, and your team for availing yourself and deciding to actually come and engage with the University of Malawi within the Great Hall here. I think this is a great atmosphere, as you might have noted. I think there are very few spaces in the world that look like this. And it's not something that we should be taking for granted. So can we give ourselves another round of applause, please? So having said that, may I also say that, Bwana DG, we as them, we hope this is not an event, but it's rather a process of engagement that will continue. We can zero it to University of Malawi and see how we can engage further beyond this. But it's our hope that we will continue to engage and localize further the discussions that we've been having in terms of digital rights and how the digital space is panning out. I should also thank the audience. I think you have been such a lovely and lively audience, both students and staff members that are present here. I think on behalf of the DVC, I sincerely thank you for making it a success that it has been this night. I think Makara had the idea, but you made it to a point that it should actually be a success. I sincerely thank you for your time, and we don't take that for granted. Otherwise, I wish you a lovely night. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Montari, for the closing remarks. Just allow me just a few announcements before I allow you to go. One, choyamba tili ndi anzathu a media ndapempha kuti abwere mkati muno, Bwana DG ndi Doc tupemphani kuti there will be some interviews, so we'll do them in here. Chachiwiri ndichokuti tinakonza kachakudya. Tsopano dongosolo lake ndilokuti amapereka makuponi timapepala ndithu kwa ife omwe talandira makuponi amenewa tingotuluka panjapa apa before the little theater pa bwalo pamenepa muona akonzapo zakudya, titenge timapepala atatu pamenepo akatipatsa chakudya. For the staff and management of the university and management ya Makra, we have another saving station just here pomwe I think apangapo save chakudya. With that, zikomo, usiku wabwino, weekend yabwino.
khona la ngifuna ukuya khona wena man. Hayi man. Ukupori. Yepiyele. Hey wena man. Angoleke. Angoleke.